So make sure you're subscribed to keep up with the videos. Turn on the notification bell if you do want to. I went off the rails.
Videos about startup.
Nice. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Nick.
And I'm Joe.
And we're
Nick and Joe.
Welcome back to an all-new episode of the K-Drama Club.
K-Drama Club. Got him.
It feels like we do this every day now.
Yeah, pretty much.
2 days in a row. I can't believe it. And of course, we're here reacting to the K-drama Startup, a new K-drama on Netflix. And we are all caught up, so we are watching these episodes as they come out every Saturday and Sunday, sharing our thoughts on what we thought about the episode, predictions for future episodes, and just our overall thoughts about the show. And if you would like to join in on the conversation, please leave a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on the show, predictions, etc. We'll be sure to mention them in a video. Let's get into it. Episode 6. This was not my favorite episode.
Yeah, it was definitely a slower one, and it was over the top goofy.
It went off the rails a little bit, and then it went off the rails a lot eventually. But what we were saying last week, they had, not last week, yesterday, the sentimental moments are what make it for me. Like, if you can blend the humor and the sentimental moments, it's great. But this episode was heavy on just the overall goofiness. And it moved kind of fast.
Yeah, and I think I feel like it was almost offsetting yesterday's episode, because if you look at these in 2 episode units, because they release Saturday, Sunday, it's the last one was super emotional. Yeah. And this one is just super
off the rails
goofy, lighthearted, just messing around.
It's interesting the way the episode starts. It starts with him solving that whole problem of beating NJ's team's tech of it can now detect the forged handwriting from their app, which I feel like is a big thing. I felt like they would be working towards that for a while or something, or even just have forgotten about it and moved on. That just gets solved in the first 2 minutes of the
and then they never talk about it again.
Yeah, she wants to go stick it to her sister, but she doesn't end up doing it.
Yeah, because there's just some things that happen.
Yeah.
Tosan figures out the solution, goes to work, and they're all assigned their offices. The first really main thing that happens is they all choose mentors. So all the companies have to go to this room and choose a mentor, and then Injae runs into her father,
who's of course one of the mentors.
One of the mentors he decides to be, because it seems like he's trying to mess with her whole plan. She wants to do her own thing and be her own person.
I didn't really get that vibe.
You don't really get that vibe?
Maybe though. He is just popping up in all the wrong places.
He went in there and he kind of tried to be oh, see what I did to help you get in the Sandbox, and she's well, if I failed, you would have stuck it to me.
But the whole thing, I don't think we've touched on this yet, but the whole idea of Sandbox and the logo of the girl on the swing, that is all based on the girl's father.
Yeah.
That one conversation that the head of Sandbox had when he went and pitched his big idea and she was going to invest in his company. He told her about, I put sand down so my kid wouldn't get hurt on the swing or whatever.
Yeah.
Injae happened to hear her recounting that story.
Yeah.
And going over the whole idea of Sandbox, and this is why it's called that, and this is why the symbol is that. And Injae put it in her cover letter.
Yeah, that she was that. Her father said that.
Which she very well could be, or it could be the sister.
See, that's what I'm kind of confused about, is I'm not 100% sold that was actually Injae that was on the swing, or if it was Tommy that was on. I don't think it matters that much. It just matters that Injae put that in her application to Sandbox.
Not because it meant something to her.
And I think not. I think Injae would have gotten into Sandbox no matter what, the credentials she had. I think she put that because she wanted that woman to be her mentor. And she knew that if the woman knew that she was the girl on the swing, then she would instantly want to be her mentor. Yeah,
and the woman, the head of Sandbox, is all about this, she's the one, she's the girl who da-da-da-da-da. So she's playing right into it. Yeah. And of course, she becomes her mentor.
Yeah, and it seems like Injae's father wanted to be her mentor, because in the elevator he said that, and she said, I've chosen my mentor.
And he is rolling his eyes the whole time she's talking about the story with the father. He is obviously very over that whole conversation. But
because they got even 2 guys next to her isn't that her father right there?
Yeah.
Alex. And then obviously Tommy goes to choose her mentor.
And who does she choose?
She chooses Chi Pyong, and
of course
Alex wants it so bad. So bad.
I'm curious what Alex's place is now that he did not get chosen.
Yeah.
Does it look like they were setting him up for something? He's even sitting there twirling the pen, the broken pen. He's a little extra.
But and then after that, you didn't see him for the rest of the episode.
Exactly. So what's going to happen?
Yeah. So
just went away on his little scooter thing.
Yeah, and then that's all we saw of him. him. So Chi Pyong's the mentor, and Tosan told a lie to tell me to kind of cover up the story some more, because Chi Pyong was about to tell her that he was the one that wrote the letters. Obviously, Tosan didn't want that because he wants Tommy to love him. So he made up this lie that Chi Pyong helped them because they're super close. Like they're almost like brothers. They're like brothers, yeah. They're so close. So that's why she said that she picked him, because they're family. That's what she said.
And now they got even more lies to tell.
Exactly.
They got to go even deeper.
So this all leads to I think this is like the whole entire point of this entire episode was the friendship of the three guys and like how they came to start Samsan and how they became close and like what it means to all of them. Because once they get into their office, they have to make kind of a business plan.
Things become real.
Yes.
They gotta like dole out shares.
Exactly.
They gotta get desks. They gotta do all this official business stuff. And of course, the doling out the shares is kind of the inciting incident of what sparks the conflict.
Yeah, because they spread them out evenly.
Yep.
And then their mentor, Chi Pyong, says like, this isn't how you do it. The CEO needs to have at least 60% of the shares, but I would say 90, so that when people start investing, you guys still retain control of your company.
Right.
Because if you all have 16%, then someone comes and blah, 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 business stuff. But he said, for the sake of maintaining control of the company, your CEO should have at least 60% of the shares.
Yep.
Tosan's two friends are like, oh, you guys planned this? Like, you
like
picked him so that he would come in here and say, like, you need to give them all your shares. Which I would say a simple Google search would answer their questions on that one.
These guys don't seem like the type to think too logically.
But there's like a huge fight about it.
Stupid fight. This is where it goes minorly off the rails.
And that's the thing, is because I think earlier in the episode you saw a different company in Sandbox that just got in, and they all argue about their shares, and like they argue and they quit and they leave. And that kind of sets it up, because they were like, oh, I wonder what happened to them. Like that couldn't happen to us.
Yeah,
and then literally like 5 minutes later, it's the same exact thing.
Wrestling on the floor like children.
Yeah. So then it just goes into like this huge flashback sequence of like how they, came to be close, how they all came to work at Samsan, because originally Tosan had started the company alone as Tosan Tech, but his two friends ended up like, it was going through this whole story.
It just shows that they're like brothers. They're like beyond friends. They're like a little brotherhood.
And it kind of ends up with them meeting at the original Samsan Tech office, the two guys, not Tosan, and kind of talking like about their friendship, because earlier in the episode it had kind of like fallen apart a little bit, and they said that they weren't going to do do Samsan anymore. They kind of talked about it, and they realized like that they were being kind of petty when looking back at everything that they had been through together. And they were talking about Tosan and Tommy a little bit, and they didn't realize that Tosan could hear them because he was sleeping in his bed in the old office.
Meanwhile, there's been this bottle of milk sitting on the windowsill the whole episode. They keep cutting to the bottle of milk, showing a bottle of milk, like what's happening.
The second time they cut to it, I was like, what is going on with this bottle? I like literally turned and I was like, what is going on with this bottle? They keep showing this bottle on the windowsill.
And here's where it goes way off the rails.
So off the rails. They had just fought. They had not talked after the fight, really. And they all go to work the next day. Tommy gives Tosan a call. And he's like, oh, and he goes to meet her, and when he walks by Chulsan in the hallway, and he goes, don't touch the milk. And they're still mad at each other, so he's like...
But it was a big moment because he was coming back to the office. Too.
Yeah, there was some sort of reconciliation there. Like, they were going to, like, talk it out.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't touch the milk. And he's like, don't touch the milk? You can't tell me what to do. If I want to touch the milk, I'll touch the milk. And he, like, opens it, and it's just like...
And we hear from outside the room an explosion
that like a bomb went off.
Could not have come from a bottle of milk.
It's like a bomb went off.
So not only does the bottle of milk explode in a really extravagant way, but it somehow is causing damage to his eyes.
But it's bad milk, so like, I understand. Like, it's been sitting out for days.
So you go to the bathroom and rinse it out of your eyes. Instead, he puts him on his back and brings him to the hospital.
Yeah, I don't think that's that important. Like, they could have made it any liquid in the world and it would have been fine. So it was a little intense, but it was
dramatic.
It was very dramatic.
Okay, so the whole reason that they go to the eye doctor and this whole dramatic reason happens, we find out later, though.
Yeah.
But that was like that was off the rails.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was very crazy.
I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, there was a lot of scenes in this episode that I think went on for like too long.
Yes.
Like it was like when they were getting into the office and they're all freaking out and like trying to like.
And then it just kept going.
Yeah, it just goes and goes and goes.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't have to make the episode an hour and 20 minutes
Yeah,
long.
please just cut it.
But
that whole situation made them realize, like, they had all these memories of being like close, like brothers, and overcoming stuff, and now they've overcome this new thing, and they've reconciled about it.
So they end up agreeing to like whatever Tommy wants to do with the shares. And I think the other really important thing that happened in this episode was kind of a shift in the relationship with Saha, the designer lawyer girl. Because obviously she clearly does not respect any of them in any way, and she's just there to be at Sandbox and wait for something that she considers like a real opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this will become like a real opportunity to her, and at some point she'll her demeanor will shift. Maybe not her demeanor, but just like her respect for everyone will change a little bit.
Yes, because now Tommy is putting her foot down.
Exactly.
She's like really trying to fit that CEO role.
Yeah.
And gives her an ultimatum.
Ultimatum,
basically.
Yeah, there's just a scene where like the girl's like on a date in the coffee shop or whatever, and Tommy calls her, she's watching her, she decides to just give her a call to see, and she doesn't answer. She just like flips her phone over and ignores it.
It is something attractive about that attitude.
Yeah, I that's why I was saying, like, I hope she does not change her demeanor at all, and
Girl,
she
don't
just
change.
learns to like show some respect for people, and I think that's where it's gonna go. Like she can do her. Because her character is awesome. I love like everything about that character.
We like it.
But she just needs to like cooperate with the company to make it successful.
Just make it work.
Yeah.
Says you can be in the company or you cannot be in the company, and we're calling each other by formal names or not.
Yeah.
So you in or you out, and she ends up in.
She ends up choosing reluctantly choosing to go along with all the rules that Tommy is setting, and that's the only way she's going to get shares in the company, which is good. And Tommy learned all that through like a conversation with Chi-Pyong. That was pretty important, I think. Just like you can be a good person or you can be a CEO. Like you can't be greedy. You can't have both. Not everybody's going to agree with the decisions you make. But you have to make a decision. If you want to please everyone, then you can't make decisions. And it's kind of funny because she ends up making a decision that he doesn't agree with. And she says, well, you told me I can't. Not everyone's going to agree with my decision. So I made the decision that I knew only one person would disagree with, and that was Chi-Pyong.
Right.
And I think that he respected her for that a little bit. He was like, okay, then.
Because he told her, hey, there's no right decision. There's no right answers. There's no right decision. You just have to do it. Well, it's IU.
IU right in front of me.
We did not talk about the fact that Tommy goes to the hotel and waits for her mother to come out. To rub it in her face that she got into Sandbox. I don't think it's that important. It wasn't that huge of a moment.
Yeah.
It was nice of her to be able to be like, hey, I got into Sandbox and I was bluffing and I'm following through on that bluff. And the mother is proud. And then Injae is in the background because she was coming to do the exact same thing.
And I don't even think that like Tommy was there to shove it in her face. I honestly think that she was there for like some sort of affirmation. It's almost like what you would do to like your parent. Like you come home and you're like, oh, like look at this thing that I did. And I don't think like that. I don't think she harbors a ton of resentment towards her mother. I think she more wants a relationship there than she does want to like shove it in her face.
Yeah, but there is a little bit of animosity still.
Yeah, of course.
All right, we could talk about the grandmother. We talked about is she gonna die last episode.
Yeah.
And maybe it doesn't seem like that will happen.
Yeah.
But with this whole nonsense at the eye doctor, I noticed this during the scene. They're in the scene with the eye doctor, and the goofy guy's getting, like saline in his eyes, and you hear the other doctor or somebody say something about vision loss.
This medicine isn't going to stop the vision loss, but it's going to slow it down.
And I was like, he's losing his vision because of the milk, but no. The doctor was talking to somebody else, and it was the grandmother. And we find this out because Tosan goes in to meet the grandmother. And Tosan has to pretend that he knows the grandmother from the history with the letters. But now he recognizes her from the hospital where he overheard that she is getting some kind of treatment for vision loss.
So she's losing her vision, but she doesn't want Tommy to know about it.
Right.
So she tells him like...
So now they have all these secrets.
Everybody has a secret with everybody, except Tommy. She thinks she knows all these things, but she's like the only one in the dark. The thing about it is like I've been like desperate for this secret to come out every episode.
Like they both like threaten that they're going to do it, or they say that they're going to do it, and they don't.
And that's the thing is like the deeper it gets is like the thing that I think would be the worst thing, which I think is probably going to happen, is that she's gonna find out the secret soon. Like maybe not even soon. They might
say
drag
that
this
every
out
episode.
forever. But they might drag it out forever. But when she does find out, the deeper it gets, the more it damages her relationship with every single person.
Of course.
So Tosan obviously, and then Chi-Pyong obviously, but then her grandmother, and that's the one that I think it was gonna be like the real like heart wrencher. Like when she has that conversation when she finds out, and it was all fake the whole time, and her grandmother didn't tell her at any point along the line.
Yeah, and there's that level of the lie, and eventually the grandmother's gonna have to tell me that she's going blind, but Tosan knows that,
and
so he's holding that from her too. So like, it's just gonna be this whole shattering thing of like, how can I ever trust you? All these things you kept from me.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's like everybody in her life.
yes,
And that's
it's pretty toxic.
yeah, it's gonna like all come crashing down. It's gonna be really, really sad. And I'm sure it'll end happy, but it's gonna be real
You
heart
say
wrenching
that.
along the way.
We'll see.
We will see.
Did we cover it all?
I think so. Like
Wait, now we have to wait a whole week.
6 days.
Yeah, 6 days.
Oh my God, man. It's gonna be
Unbelievable.
crazy.
In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment on any of our episodes and let us know what you're thinking about the show. We would love to hear from you. We are going to do this episode by episode, so make sure you're subscribed to keep up with the videos. Turn on the notification bell if you do want to. I went off
See
the
more
rails.
videos about startup.
Nice. I lost it.
It's the daylight savings time.
Yeah.
I think it's time for bed.
But thank you all so much for watching. This was a great episode, and can't wait till next week to watch more.
To watch more startup.
Yes.
This has been
Nick
and
Joe. Have a good
a
one.
good one, guys.